You have to make sure that, number one, if I'm getting into these trades and it's at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the morning, you can be aggressive with those pump and dumps because they don't usually have the same sustainability. But if you're getting into a stock and it's 6:55 in the morning, well, at 7 o'clock, it's a different type of culture that comes into the stock market.
Welcome everybody to another funded trader of TradethePool. Today Maxwell is with me, a new funded trader, actually been with us for a while and got funded a few times, so we will dive into that. Trading on $200,000 of the Flex program. How are you doing, Maxwell? Thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you already got the experience of how it likes to, pass the evaluation, failed obviously a few times, passed the evaluation a few times as well. Let's start with that. What happened when you go from the evaluation to the funded phase? Why did you pass a few times instead of continue trading one account?
So the biggest challenge for me, is that I don't trade part-time. I mean, I trade part-time, but I also, I own a few physiotherapy clinics. So my challenge sometimes is if I'm trading and then I get caught up in a trade, I have to go see a patient. I get caught up, I come back and I didn't put a stop loss in, or I didn't put a stop loss in for the full amount, and then I end up getting burned. That's the normal thing that's happened. Then, I'll go back and I don't have a problem trading. I can make the 6% for the evaluation back usually in a day or two. That's what's happened. So then I've decided now that if I'm going to trade, that I'm going to have to change my schedule, my patient schedule, so that I'm only trading under certain hours. That's the biggest challenge of that.
I got it. I understand that. Yeah, I did look at your evaluations before and also the one that you just passed. We'll cover that in a second. One thing that you mentioned, because you have a tight schedule and you need to be flexible. First of all, some advice is we do have a trailing stop that you can put in the trading platform. And this is the first time I'm mentioning that. We actually add in an algo version to it. So you can basically create your own algo, create your own bot, and let it run with the same strategy. This is if it's interesting for you.
Well, that would probably be helpful, because that's the biggest challenge, like if, as a trader, I would say that if you looked at my trades, I would say most of the time I'm right about 85% of the time. But those few times where I make a mistake, if I don't have that stop loss and then I end up, with that tight margin of only potentially 2%, then it's easy to have to hit the pause. So
yeah, hopefully at least we have the daily pause, right, to protect. Yeah. All righty, amazing. Let's go back a little bit. Tell us about your story, the timeline, how you started to trade. What was the difficulties?
Well, I think that the biggest thing when I started trading many, many years ago, but like I said, I was also starting to grow my practice as a physiotherapist. And so I always had trading as a background, as something I would just do on the side for fun. And then I'd say over the last maybe year, the technology has improved a lot, that you can trade with a lot more. The software has evolved a lot. What you can do and the insights that you have and where you can find information has improved significantly. So I decided I wanted to start trading a lot more. So this year, I put some time aside earlier in the year, and to be honest, I was doing really well. I was doing very well with the trading. Then I got caught up in, like I said, same thing. I walked away from the trade for about not even 5 minutes. I was in a trade went from $5 to 125 in 1 week. So I was caught short on that. Then I got burned pretty good. And so that's why I said, again, let me just take a pause. So when I came back to trading, I watched Trader TV live as one of the things I watched in the background sometimes at work. And I saw the ad for the TradethePool, and I said, let me give it a shot. So that's why we got back to it here now. I said, for me, the biggest thing is the daily pause helps to force me to take a step back. So hopefully now, though, that I won't need that daily pause as much, and I'll be able to, the algo sounds interesting, But the trailing stop is the thing I'm used to using that sometimes with the software, but I'm not as familiar using it under the Trade the Pool software. So
got it. So first of all, we do have A to Z tutorial that you can definitely check out. It's on our VOD, the huge section that we created with a lot of educational material. So definitely check it out. And for those of you guys that listening right now, go do that too. We have a lot of funded traders interviewed there and webinars and many very good trading content. And Max, you mentioned the journey that you went through, and how does it feel to trade on your own capital comparing to, when you joined Trade the Pool and you understood that, okay, I'm putting the fee and that's it. Other than that, this is the cap. This is the risk that I'm capping. That basically.
Well, I mean, it's twofold. On the one side, there's a lot less stress, right? Because you're only the amount that you're putting in versus the amount that you can trade is significantly less.
Yeah.
And in the beginning, you just say, "Oh, if I make a mistake, I'll just go and I'll do it again." So that's what happened to me a couple times. But now, I have to take on a little bit more responsibility. And I don't know if you can see my trades. This last time, I traded with less aggression. You guys looked at some of the trades I made and made a couple recommendations about the size of the shares I was using, and that helped. That helped me in terms of, again, I think I to get to that 6%, I had one mistake, one negative trade, and 11 or so positive trades. So it helped again that you guys were out there looking and giving that feedback, because that helped me. I modified something that I was doing, and it's been working well. So I'm excited to continue now with this next phase to see how it goes.
Yeah, it's amazing to see. I'm getting lots of feedbacks from our funded traders, and there are two main points that literally everyone is saying. Is one, that once you have some restrictions, some boundaries, you become a better trader, right? For example, the daily pause, or like you said, limiting the number of shares. And now, because I don't need to worry about that, and these are the boundaries, this is the box that I need to trade within, then my trading is getting much better. And yeah, we get that all the time. Okay. It's amazing to see that. I'm gonna share my screen and show your dashboard. For those of you not familiar, every trader gets his own dashboard, and you can just see the progress and look at your stats. Let's see what we can come up with here. So, alrighty, that should be, that's good. So you're trading on Flex $200,000 of buying power. I'm going back to the achievements actually first. So like we said, you passed the evaluation. This is your fifth time that you've been trading on the funded account.
Yeah.
And that's the evaluation that you passed. You reached the target, the $12,000, 6% basically. You had the max loss, a daily pause. And like you said, you started on the 28th of July and passed it within 1 day. I mean, obviously you have the experience, right? You already tried the evaluation. You said it yourself. Once you understood that you need to take it more seriously, then you put in the work, right?
Yes.
And some of your stats are, to be honest, incredible. 93% success rate.
Yes.
I don't know do that, to be honest, because that's super high percentage. We'll talk about that in a second, about literally the technical of your trading. 0.4 on the risk reward, obviously it's a negative ratio, but because you have super high success rate, you're making it possible. You got some advanced statistics here that we can watch. The profit factor of 5.16 and 38 minutes on holding time, average holding time. That's also interesting to see. When I went through your stats and the trades, I noticed obviously you're trading a lot of those small caps, right?
It depends. It depends again, because I was trying to get the evaluation passed. It depends. So sometimes I'm trading those momentums, and I use specific technical indicators to see if it's a short that I'm doing, once it has peaked, and then looking for the backside of that move.
I got it. So you're going short and from time to time long. And I also see some AMD and Tesla here. Do you usually try to trade those large cap?
Yeah, I mean, They're some of them are very reliable with respect to the technical indicators.
Mhm.
Tesla can be very volatile, but it's volatile with a lot of predictability, whether it's at the 50, the 200, or V. Or sometimes I use there's stuff. One of the softwares I use called the TSI, the True Strength Indicator, and that helps as well to help determine. And that combines VWAP, the other indicators, and it can be reliable with certain types of stocks. As long as the stocks aren't choppy, then using some of those indicators together can be very helpful.
Nice. And let's dive in a little bit about those trades, because you can see good numbers of 2,000, almost $3,000 in profit, but you had this big one, right? VWAV with a 3K loss.
That was my that was my undisciplined. I started entering to the trade at that time on the front side of the move before the peak had happened.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got a bit stubborn, and again, because I knew that daily pause was there, that's why I finally said I need to make sure that I'm responsible here. And I walked away and took the loss on it, and then I waited for the backside of the move. So you can see that right after that, I went back into the trade and took profit on the same trade. But at this point, as you can see, the price has gotten lower. That's because I was there once I had seen the tip of the top of the trade, and I was coming back down. So I was confident to take the trade. And I did it with less size as well.
Yeah, and I do love the fact that you're scaling into the position and adding, and not just jumping in, with full size right from the get-go. And in order to really reach high success rate, you should definitely do that, scale into the position. Once in a while, you will have those big numbers losing the trade, but generally speaking, when it comes to getting more high success rate, you basically want to scale in and build a position. That's a good one. So let's take, for example, ZOOZ, right, from the other day.
So this trade, for example, I mean, if I wasn't doing, I mean, I could have easily stayed in this trade. That trade I covered it at 350. If you look at the closing price in that trade, it closed around $2. But I just was looking to take the profit when I wanted to take the profit. If you're trading with it and you have experience, there's certain themes. I know some of the guys have talked when they do the videos about themes that are happening during the market. And right now, these Bitcoin reserves that some of these small cap stocks that don't really have much of a business are doing, you see these big peaks and then you see an aggressive drop. So that happened with ZOOZ and AEHL. I had 4,000 profit, but again, that stock dropped at least another $1 after I did that. But I was just happy to take the meat of the move.
Yeah, exactly. And in most cases, you won't get the full move, right? 100% of the move. But as long as you took yours and just traded according to your trading plan, that's what important. Sometimes you will get to a trade, it will go $10 more than what you did, but at the end of the day, it wasn't there for you to take, right?
Exactly.
Amazing. That's a great one, Maxwell. So maybe just before we'll finish here, if you already mentioned AEHL, what's the setup? What is it that you're looking for besides the pump and dump, right?
So if say for example, in these type of plays, you're seeing a high parabolic move, right?
Right.
But if the stock starts to consolidate and like on a 5-minute chart, I'm looking at the 1 minute and I'm seeing that the price is starting to consolidate. Say it peaks at, it goes from whatever it was at $4 up to $5.50. But you see that it's starting to consolidate and it's starting to stay in a tight range. Then I'm not going to start entering to the short, right? You want to see a couple bars where it's peaked up very, very aggressively, and then it has those indecision candles and it's starting to come back down. But again, that's not when I'm going to enter the trade with an aggressive position, because I want to wait for the peak of that 5-minute chart to start coming down before I enter the trade with confidence. Because what ends up happening sometimes is that you have to make sure that, number one, if I'm getting into these trades and it's at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the morning, you can be aggressive with those pump and dumps because they don't usually have the same sustainability. But if you're getting into a stock and it's 6:55 in the morning, well, at 7 o'clock, it's a different type of culture that comes into the stock market. And 8 o'clock is a different type of culture.
Amazing, Maxwell. That was really great. I appreciate the time and the insight you shared with us. And guys, want to check us out, go to tradethepool.com, come trade with us. And of course, go through the live stream on YouTube, the VOD, full of content, trading content, if you want to learn about trading. And I'll see you next time. Thanks so much, Maxwell.
All right. Thank you. Thank you.